Hi, my name is Andrea Palotto. I'm a Feldenkrais practitioner and teacher. I often teach free classes, and this is a little introduction to my most recent class, Pressing for Breath. It's to introduce my series, which is called Are You a Mouth Breather or a Nose Breather? It's about how more and more studies are showing that breathing through the mouth is the less optimal way of breathing. Breathing through the nose more habitually, more often, uh, is just so much better for you. It's a slower type of breathing, and the air changes, the air temperature changes. It goes all up throughout your eyes, and then to the back of your throat, and then into your lungs. And it's also breathing with your diaphragm. It's a much better way of breathing, and this lesson is an introduction to that, and an introduction into nose breathing in general. And um, later on, my series is exploring nose breathing again, but it needs to be slow. It needs to be patient and without really a need, but more with just an awareness. So enjoy the lesson that's happening right now, pressing for breath, and come to my series. Thanks. Let me just introduce Feldenkrais to those who haven't yet done it, or awareness through movement is what we call it. So basically, I give you instructions, very simple. Well, sometimes they're not so simple, but the way that you're supposed to take it is very simple, easy, relaxed, and never going past your comfort zone. So if you're raising your hand or looking up, you never want to do it so that you're not able to breathe, or that things are hard. We look for what's easy so that we can continue to find what's easy throughout the whole system. So, yeah, and so today's class is an intro to my series, and I'll speak more about that at the end. Yeah, so how about we begin? Yeah, so, and the hard surface is always best, like the floor, carpeting, mat, something like that, so that you can feel gravity, and you can push through, because there's some parts where we push through the floor. And so how about everyone gets to lie on their backs on the floor, and we'll start the lesson from there. Okay, so we'll start with what we call a scan. It's really just a time to check in with yourself and how you're feeling on the floor. And what I like to do is usually take like measuring tape in my imagination and measure different parts of the distance between different parts of myself. So like, for instance, what's the distance between both ears? If you had a measuring tape. And what's the distance between both shoulders? And the distance between your ribs on both sides? What's the distance between your chest and your chin? How close, in other words, how close is your chin from your chest? And the distance from your stomach to your head. And the distance from your toe to your forehead of your right foot. And what's the weight of different parts of yourself on the ground? For instance, what's the weight of your head on the ground? What about your shoulders? Is there one side that's a little bit heavier than the other? And what about the connection from your head to your neck and your chest? From there, there's a whole bunch of vertebrae that connect to each other to create your spine. So we have, just anatomically, we have, starting with the thoracic vertebrae. You can maybe count them. Like, how many do you think there are? One. And it starts all from your skull, and then it goes down. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you have your cervical spine. That's just a different, it just means that it's just a different kind of vertebra. The same vertebra, but we just give it a different name. And they continue on down, and they go in between your shoulders. And then goes down through your stomach, and then you start to have the lumbar vertebra, which are a little bit bigger, and they connect to your pelvis. And so now we'll start to do little movements. So bring your legs to standing. So your feet would be on the floor, standing. And really, really gently, just gonna explain. So you're laying on the floor, but your feet are standing. You're laying on the floor, but your feet are standing. Yeah. And with your feet standing, you just gently push through your legs so that you lift your pelvis. And just do it a little bit and then come back down. And then come back down. Yeah. And now, when you do that the next time, just simply think about bringing the air in your next inhale, bringing the air to your right side, so your right shoulder. Think of bringing the air to your right clavicle. So lift up your pelvis through your feet. And now bring the air from your nostrils. Feel the air coming in. And then it goes to your right clavicle. And do this for, have your pelvis lifted up for as long as you can do it, that it remains comfortable. But it doesn't need to be super lifted up, right? It can be just gently, right? Yeah, just a little bit. It could be just a couple of millimeters from the floor, really. Yeah. And then think and feel through the movement. Feel maybe that the air is coming into your nostrils. You can think about that. And then the path that it takes is actually kind of up to your eyes a little bit. Not that it comes out of your eyes, but the airflow, it kind of comes through your eyes and then it goes down into your throat. If you don't feel that, that's okay. But just even imagining it, imagining the path that it takes, and the air, it comes to your left shoulder and even to your clavicle, which is the bigger part of your collarbone. So think about the air coming to your clavicle and your right clavicle, and that it's expanding, everywhere, at the ribs there. Everything kind of gets bigger, like a balloon that expands on all sides, like a balloon that gets bigger, and all of the muscles that are in between your ribs, it expands a little bit so that all the individual ribs, they expand a little bit. And now bring that down. Let your pelvis relax a little bit. You can keep your legs standing. And now with the left side, so do the same thing. You lift your pelvis in the air a little bit. And then feel again the air that's coming in through the nostrils. It passes just below or near the eyes, and then it comes down through the throat and points the air to the shoulder blade, to the clavicle, and also just feel what that air is doing in yourself. Is it pressing down on the floor? Is it lifting your chest up? And when you need to lower your pelvis, you lower it for a second and then you can lift it up when you're ready, and keep trying that. Just gently lifting your pelvis up. And then again, feeling through the whole breathing. This lesson is about finding how the breath changes and moves yourself in your body. It changes your body's shape. So how does breathing through your nose and your mouth, because we can breathe from our mouths, but how can breathing affect your whole self? How does it move you? How does it change your shape? So how does it change the shape of your left shoulder? And don't have a big movement, right? Don't force it, and just see. And one expression that I really like, and I don't think we use often enough, is in Feldenkrais, is fake it till you make it. And so if you don't feel that, then instead of pushing to feel it, you would actually have the opposite effect of making everything bigger. You would be making everything smaller. So with this intense intention, you actually do the opposite. So if you let go of the intention to have this experience and this feeling, you might actually be able to feel, even if it's really small. And so now bring your legs down. Let everything go. Bring your legs down. And now, with your legs still down like that, again, bring air in and let it expand your whole front chest, like your the same place with the clavicles and everything that we just did, and let it come as if it's coming out in every single place, that it's expanding in every place, that is as if somebody was inside you and pushing your rib cage out, so that your rib cage was coming towards the ceiling, and also that your rib cage was coming down towards the floor, because we have two parts of the rib cage, right? We have the front part and then we have the back part. So bring that air in, and without using your muscles and all that stuff, think about the air and think about how that's expanding and pushing out as if somebody had their hands gently inside your rib cage and they were just touching. And you can even use your hands to feel your clavicles and your second pair of ribs. Go ahead and do that. Take your hands and touch all that part, and you can even feel so higher up in your clavicle, your collarbone, like the first set of ribs. Yeah, first set near your head, and you can feel how that part gets a little bit bigger. And if you've had any kind of like surgery around there, then it's going to be less big, just because you're still getting used to that feeling of getting bigger in the chest area. And you can even think of it as everything is getting bigger, you know, the like the nipple, it gets bigger, the breast, it gets bigger, everything gets bigger in that area. Everything is kind of pushing and pressing. One side is pushing up and the other side is pressing down. And now bring your left leg up and keep your right leg long. Yeah. And now push through your left leg so that you roll your pelvis onto the right side. You roll your pelvis onto the right side and find you keep your head down. Keep your head down. No, but your left leg is straight. Your left leg stays straight and you just roll your pelvis onto the right side. And your head doesn't change position. And push through your heel. So your right leg is straight. It stays straight. Your left leg stays straight and you push through the floor. Push through the floor so that you roll onto your right side. And so in this position, as you're feeling that pushing from your left leg, you push through so that you feel your right shoulder blade. And again, bring the air into that and press the air onto the floor. So make it bigger. And at the same time, you can even lift your pelvis from the floor a little bit with your leg standing. And feel that there's pressure coming onto your right side. The pressure from the floor coming onto your right side. Same leg. So the left leg is standing. And it stays straight and you're just pushing through so that you feel the right side a little bit more. And then again, bringing the air from your nostrils. I like to do that a few times, really going slow, bringing the air into your nostrils, up into your eyes, and then down. That's the path of the airways. And it comes down into your throat. You might feel it in the back of your throat. And then you just have that air. Think about that air that is in your right side, your right shoulder, and pressing the air presses the right shoulder into the floor. And now you can let that go and try it on the opposite side. The same thing. So bring down your left leg, bring up your right. And then again, pushing through the floor so that you roll a little bit onto your left side, a little bit onto your left pelvis. Well, the left side of your pelvis. And then feeling the right side of the left side of your shoulder blade, bring the air in and press with the air, using the air, press into the floor and expand everything. And think about the air expanding each little rib. And think about the air like blowing a balloon. It expands on every side. Everything kind of gets bigger. And yet, there's also this pressure that you receive from the floor. The floor saying, hey, I'm there. And that information is what we love to find in Feldenkrais. We use the floor to give us information about gravity. Okay, so now bring your leg down. And take a little rest. And now, stay lying down. You don't need to get up. Stay lying down. And you don't need to look at the computer. Just relaxing. And now with your legs lying, bringing the air through your nostrils again, up to your eyes and then down your throat, so that your sternum, which is the front bone of your chest, it kind of lifts again towards the ceiling and it gets bigger. As if somebody has their hands on the inside of your chest and they're pushing really gently. They're just pushing, and everything, all of the ribs, they separate a little bit and it comes towards the ceiling. And with your breath, you let that happen, not with your muscles, not by pushing anything. And do it gently, do it really easy. And do it a couple times, like really, 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 really gently. And now bring your legs up to standing. And lift your pelvis up like before. And think about the exact same place that you were breathing into before, and lift so that that part pushes into the ground with the air. Using the air, you lift your pelvis up and you push, you press down in the same area. You use that air to press down into the floor with your inhale. And feel how everything is expanding on the bottom side. Everything's expanding and getting bigger. And if you don't feel that, then just imagine it. Again, fake it till you make it. Imagine that happening, that everything is just expanding a little bit more, that there are muscles in between each of your ribs. And you can even, if you go really softly and gently, you can even find the muscles between the ribs. And you can feel, if you go in between with your fingers, you can feel the places in between the ribs. And those are muscles. And those are little muscles that get wider when you breathe. They open up and everything opens up. Okay, so bring your pelvis down. Take a little rest. And now again, bring your pelvis up with your legs standing. And again, the same thing, using the air, and even think about your spine, that it comes down, presses onto the floor, but with your breath, using your breath. And you can even count the spine that you feel. The spine, the vertebra that you feel, the vertebrae of your neck, for example. The ones that I was counting before, 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that being pressed or not? And then even the spine, the cervical spine, the parts of the vertebrae that are in between your shoulders. Think about that pressing on the floor with your breath. Using your breath, expanding your chest, and thinking about the air that is pushing really, really gently, that is pushing your vertebrae and your ribs and everything onto the floor. Are there parts that you feel pressing more than others? And are there places that you can imagine more easily than others? I love to use the imagination, the texture. What is the texture of your ribs? What do they look like? What color? How thick are each rib? Okay, so I'll let that go. And you can bring your legs down again. And now bring your left leg standing. And interlace your fingers together and put them under your head. And so make sure that it's under your head and not your neck. Yeah, the so that it's just holding that part that is of your skull that is harder. There's like a little bump. So make sure that you're above that area, not below, because then you're on the neck. So you want to be under the head. And now push through your leg and roll your pelvis like we did before, but also just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit, lift up your head. And the place where you feel the most pressure, think about the ribs expanding there. Think about the ribs that are expanding when you lift up your head in that place. More so around your right shoulder, around your ribs. So yeah, push through your leg with your heel. Think about your heel and push down on the floor. And that creates like a rolling to the other side. And then with your head, really gently lift it up as high as you can. Using your arms as if your elbows are coming together. And then again, think about the air coming into your nostrils and your eyes and that place where the pressure is. Think about it pressing into the floor with the air. With the air that you inhale, think of everything pressing, coming in more into the floor. And you can even visualize again that your chest is expanding. And how many ribs do you feel expanding on the floor in this position? Do you feel your top ribs? Or do you more feel the bottom ribs? We have some ribs that are called the floating ribs. They don't really connect in the front, they float. And so think about there, it's like a soft part, kind of where you bring your belt. Kind of where you have your belt, where you tie a belt. Think about that coming towards the floor. Think about that using your breath and expanding that part. Nice, yes, that's really nice. And take breaks. You can take breaks in between. The more you're tired, the less you're gonna feel. Yeah. You can bring your head down at whatever point. Bring it back up when you're ready. And use the inhale to make yourself bigger. The inhale to make yourself bigger. Yeah. That's nice. And now Bring your head on the floor. Bring your head on the floor. Let your arms go a second. Just a second. Little break. And then intertwine your hands. Bring the same leg up. Intertwine your hands in the non-habitual way, which is the way that you didn't do the first time. So the awkward way. So if you put your hands automatically, now put them in the other way. Put them in the other way so that the opposite finger is in front. Yeah. That's what we call the non-habitual way. It's weird. It's very weird. So the non-habitual way. If you bring them together normally, then take them apart and do them the other way. And then do the same thing. And see, does changing just one position of the finger make it easier? Make it not easier? It's a little test, a little curious moment. And yeah, bring up your head and push through your leg. Push through your leg, the same leg, and push it through, and then bring that air. Inhale. But push through the leg. Push through the leg so that you roll. So that you roll a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Push through the leg and then feel that air. Think about the bottom ribs. The bottom ribs, they're getting bigger. And they're pressing into the floor. And they're getting bigger. Yeah. And then come down. And now bring up the other leg. And then interlace your fingers in the regular way. And that's the same thing, but now it's the opposite side. So see what's different from this side. Push your leg into the floor. Think about your heel coming into the floor. It rolls your body to the opposite side. Yeah, and now that place again, that place where you feel the pressure. That place where you feel the pressure. Where is it? And can you feel more pressure? Can you use the air? Can you use the air to make more pressure? And lifting your head. Lifting your head will help you to feel even more. You don't have to lift it all the way up. Just do it to where it's comfortable. Just do it to where it's easy. And then use the air that's coming in to expand the lower ribs, the floating ribs. And use that leg, push that leg to feel on that side, to push yourself to be on your side. Kind of not all the way on your side, but a little bit so that you can feel. Okay, so now let that go. And bring your arms down. How do you feel your back on the floor? And if you were to take a measuring tape again and measure, let's say from your armpits, one armpit to the other armpit, the imaginary tape. How big does your chest feel? And now, with your legs laying like that, again, bring in the air, and the same place that you were feeling before, bring the air there and press the floor. Press into the floor with the air. And again, feel that inhale, right? Take a moment to feel the trajectory of the inhale. Comes into your nose, and you can feel a little bit that it's up in your eyes. The airway, the nasal airway, it's there. And then it comes down, maybe, to the back of your mouth, back of your head, and through your ribs, down your neck and through your ribs, and then pushing and pressing, again, as if somebody was inside your chest and they were just pushing and feeling your ribs. Each little one, they were helping you feel that the pressing, helping you feel that your ribs, they can expand and they can feel bigger, and that your breath moves you, that air moves you. You change shape with air, and that it gets bigger. And then again, the muscles, all the little muscles in between each rib, all the muscles in between each rib, they help each rib separate a little bit. They get a little bit bigger, just a little bit bigger. And think about the shoulder blades, feeling the floor, using the air. And now interlace your fingers and put them under your head. And the same thing, bring up your head just a little bit, just as much as you can, and take in the air. Think about, again, the shoulder blades pressing with the air, using the air to press the shoulder blades into the floor. And your hands, they're under your head, not your neck, under your head. Pressing again, think about all of the beautiful, delicious ribs. They help us twist and turn. But they get bigger. They can get bigger. Think about which ones are getting bigger, which ones are easier, and just feel those ones. Okay. Bring everything down. Bring everything down. So now extend the right arm above your head. So that means that it's not facing the ceiling, but it's facing the wall in back of you. And it's laying on the floor. And try to have the elbow straight as it can be, and on the floor. So it doesn't need to be super above your head. If you can't have it like that, that's fine. It can be more to the side, but as long as it's straight. And if you need to bring yourself more down, so it's like you're raising your hand, but instead your hand is on the floor because you're in that position. Yeah. And now bring your right and left Oh yeah, so bring your left leg up to the opposite leg. And now push through the floor and roll onto your side so that your head is resting on your right arm. And your leg is still pushing though. You're not completely on your side. You're like half on your side and half not. It's a bit complicated, so do what you can. If you can't get the whole position, then that's fine. And now, again, using your breath, but now you really want to feel the ribs that are on the side. Using your breath, feeling the ribs on the side. And think about the ribs, the floating ribs that are the lower ribs. Feeling the pressing in the air, the pressing on the floor. Yeah, and push through your leg, push through your leg, push through your leg so that you feel it in your head. Push through your leg so that you feel that your head is getting a little bit longer and using that air to push through. And if you're on your side, then you can, and your head is on your arm, then you can take your right arm and put it under your ear, under your temple on the other side. Right arm. No, the left arm. Oh, so bad with right and left. The left arm. Take the left arm under your ear, under your right ear. And then, but yeah, and you're still, your left leg is still on the floor. Your left leg is still pushing on the floor. So you're half on your side and you're half not on your side. For some people, it's a difficult position. And if it's difficult for you, then don't do it. If it's difficult for you, don't do it. So some of my students were having some trouble with this position in the live class. So I just want to explain it a little bit more. Basically, come onto your side completely. Both legs are on top of each other. And now take the top knee and bring it standing. That's the basic position. The top knee is standing and the knee is towards the ceiling and the bottom knee is laying straight on the floor. And then you are kind of on your right side. Your left knee is bent, and then you take your left arm, you put it around over to the other side of your head, which is laying on the right arm, and you put your hands around the temple or on your ear, on the right side of your head, and you gently lift your head up so that you can feel the pressing using your breath on the ribs below. I hope that clears it up. And you do it as much as you can. Don't hurt yourself to be in that position. And then you take your left arm, you put it under your ear, and you lift your head. Lift your head. There, lift your head. But your elbow is towards the air. Your elbow is towards the ceiling. Sorry, your elbow is towards the ceiling. Some people already have it, but some people don't. Your elbow is towards the ceiling. And now lift your head and with the air, push into the floor and feel the pressing. Feel the expansion that you can have. And every time you expand and you press more, it's as if your head gets a little bit higher. It doesn't need to, but it's as if. Yeah, and do that just until you can, right? Do that just until you can. Bring your head down when you need. Take a little second break. And then do it again. And then breathing in, feel the trajectory from your nose. The air comes to your eyes. It comes down your mouth and back of your mouth. And then from there goes into your vertebrae, your neck. And then it comes into your chest. And then think about the side that's on the floor. Push that to the ground using that air. Think about the ribs of the armpit. Let that come towards the floor. Think about the ribs lower the armpit, just underneath the armpit. And then think about the floating ribs. That's coming to the floor. Everything on your side is coming to the floor. Okay, so now come back. Lay down on the floor just a second. Bring everything down. And how's your back on the floor? How's your breathing? And now come to do that on the other side. So bring the opposite leg up, opposite arm, and roll yourself onto your half side. But try to have your head on your arm. Try to have your head on your lower arm. And now, again, think about the breath, the pressing that's happening. Your hand is holding underneath your head and your ear. And then, again, visualize on your side, depending on how you're more comfortable. Either it's going to be easy or not. If it's less easy to think about your breath on your side, then really think about the transition of air. Again, coming into your nose, and it's in your eyes. It's in back of your eyes, it's underneath your eyes. And then the breath, it comes into your mouth, in the back of your throat. It comes down your ribs, down your neck into your ribs, and on the side. Think about your armpit, expanding your armpit. Your armpit comes towards the floor. And think about it coming the lower ribs, lower from your armpit. And if you lift your head, then you feel a little bit more pressure, and you can really identify the ribs. And if you push through your leg, you can feel even more. And you can feel, if you push through your leg, you can feel the lower ribs, the floating ribs. And that's expanding, getting bigger. And let it be on the floor. Okay, come back to your side. Come back to the floor. And rest everything. Oh, how do you feel now? Okay, so now come onto the stomach. Come onto your belly. And now you can have extend your arms up like you were on your back, but now you're on your tummy. And if you can have your head flat, you can have it flat. Or if you want to turn it, you can turn it to whichever side you want. And now, again, using your breath, feel the lower ribs, underneath the breast. Feel that expanding and pushing the floor. Again, like you have these really gentle hands, imagine that there are hands that are just pushing each rib into the floor a little bit and touching the muscles in between the ribs and saying, hey, you can expand, you can get bigger like a balloon. Like a balloon, you can get bigger. Everything gets bigger. And then the floating ribs, the ribs that are more towards your stomach and towards your belt. Those ones too. Somebody's there, somebody has their hand there, and they're just gently, really easily pushing down onto the floor and feeling the ribs. They're just tracing it with the gentlest hand, tracing the ribs, tracing the ribs. And bring up your right knee so that it's like so that your knee is parallel to your hip joint, like you're bending it, and you're tilted to the side a little bit, to the left side, yeah. And now again, using the air and thinking about the ribs that are expanding and getting bigger. Using the air, thinking about your armpit coming towards the floor. What is your armpit? Your armpit is a joint. It's attached to your shoulder girdle. And there's ribs there. And everything comes towards the floor. Using your breath, everything gets bigger. Everything gets wider. Again, feeling that it's as if there are hands that are gently just outlining each rib and saying, you can go there. You can get bigger. Letting all of the muscles in between each rib just feel that they can expand. Feel that they can get bigger. And now bring that leg down. Do the other one. Bring up the other one. Yeah, and now again, feeling on that side. And starting with the armpit. If somebody was there inside, pushing from the inside out. From the inside out. Expanding like a balloon, getting bigger. Feeling with the air, with your inhale, that everything is just getting bigger. Everything is getting rounder. Feeling the pressing on the floor. Pressing on the floor. And so bring your leg down. And now with your left leg, Bend it so that the toes are on the floor, kind of like in a running position. Bent like in a running position so that you can push through your toes. You put your toes on the ground. Yeah, and then so you can push through your toes. And then now push there so you're just one leg. Just your right. Just your right, yeah. And then push through your feet so that your whole leg straightens. Push through your feet so your whole leg straightens. And then feel that whole extension, that whole lengthening of your right side. And again, feeling all of the ribs and all of your side, bringing the air, the inhale, using your inhale to bring the air to push, to press into the floor and expand all of the ribs, expanding all of the ribs, making them bigger. And now the other side. Bring that foot down, use the other one. And feeling all of the ribs again, like someone's there. Like someone's there just guiding your ribs, telling your ribs, you can get bigger. You can get bigger. You can get wider. You can come away from each other and you can come back. You can come away from each other and then you can come back. Really, really easy. Okay, so now come onto your back. Let that all go and come onto your back. Now, how do you feel on your back? And now, like we did at the beginning, bringing the air from your nostrils past your eyes into your throat, and then pressing the ribs down into the floor. How do they feel now? How does everything feel now? Do you have a bigger picture of your chest, of your ribs? If you take a measuring tape, you measured the space between one shoulder to the other, between one armpit to the other. In terms of weight on the floor, can you feel that maybe more of your back is on the floor? And bring your feet up to standing and lift your pelvis like before. And now think again with all of the inhale through the nose, past the eyes, into the throat. Lift up your pelvis and feel again. Feel the air that's expanding your whole chest. Into the sides. Right? We did that before. Into the sides. Into the back. Okay. And now bring that down. And now come onto your, so now bring with your legs up, roll onto your side, and then come to sitting, and then come to standing. And without paying attention to the screen, give this a moment for yourself. Take a moment for yourself. Walk around a little bit. How's your breathing? Your chest? How's walking? Do you feel taller on one side? So I went a little bit over. I hope that's okay. It usually happens in my free sessions. So I apologize for that. And I hope you liked the lesson. For me, it was incredibly helpful. And I felt so huge after. So this is a intro lesson into my new series that's focused on breathing. So this first one was a lot of pressing, The idea behind it was, hey, feel here. Oh, okay, now feel here. Feel here, feel here, feel here. And then, how do you feel now? So, and so that's that's today's lesson. And then next week, same time, is at 1:00 is it's the first lesson of the series. And that one is using these rhythms of breathing to help more breathing through the nose, finding breathing in the throat and then in the chest. And then it's kind of the same thing. It's really this lesson, but expanded into 6 different lessons. And then by the end, we return to this kind of pressing idea. And so then by the end, you're just going to be breathing really nice. So if you want to kind of work on this breathing and pressing and breathing through the nose, join my series. It's I think the price is $82 for this one. And if you have any I'll put the link in the chat if you want to go ahead and buy. Okay, link is not there. Hold on. There we go. There. So that's the link. And so if you have, I usually open up the floor to comments or realizations or questions. You can also feel free to type in the chat about, like words that you feel came up for you for this lesson, or anything you want to say. I always appreciate feedback and experience. My partner has a huge smile on her face. She's very happy. How was this lesson for you? How do you feel now? How did you feel before you realized anything? Did you feel that expansion happening in your chest? Also, feel free to close the screen. Wow, it's easier for the lower back to be on the floor. That's really nice. I'm really happy. Yeah, definitely. That's so interesting. Working on like the chest, that's probably, like a lot of the lifting that's happening in your lower back that just ended up relaxing it so that your lower back could be like, oh, you know what? I can I can be on the floor. I can feel the floor. Because, we were so much doing like, okay, feel here, feel here, feel here, feel here, feel here, feel here, feel here. So now your lower back was like, oh, you know what? I don't need to do that much work. Awesome. This work is just amazing. Jillian, I see you're unmuted. Would you like to say something?
Yeah. Hi, can you hear me? I was just typing.
Oh.
I've lost you now. I've lost the picture. Sorry. Yeah, no, I just had recent hand surgery, so I couldn't do the things where I had to, put my hand flat and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it was great. Sorry, I've lost you, but anyway.
I hear you.
Yeah. I've had hand surgery, and I've got RA, so it's a bit difficult. But I couldn't twist my hand when we had to hold behind your head, so I had to do it with one hand.
Well, there you go. Yeah. I always say don't bend yourself to the lesson. Bend the lesson to you, Fix the lesson to you. So
where are you in the world?
I'm in Montreal in Canada.
Okay. I'm in Vancouver. Okay,
oh, cool.
Thank you. That was really cool. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Sandra, it was really good. I might have to wait till I can use my hand again to do it properly, though.
There's no proper way. There's no proper way. There's just, feeling a lot, the hand, doing the whole hand thing. It's just that it's really going to get the you're really going to get that feeling of the pressure. And so then when you're breathing, you feel it even more. But it's not really, there's no one way to do things. It's your way. And the method is really about finding awareness in what you're doing, realizing what you're doing. So if you're trying to do something else, then you're not realizing what you're doing, and then you're not really learning. So that's the whole point is this learning process, and the best way to learn is through awareness.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was very fabulous.
Thank you so much. So if anyone has any questions, you can write to me, or if you're on my mailing list, you have my number. On my mailing list, there's a bunch of free lessons as well. You can sign up and have the free lessons, or you can join my series. And so I hope to see you there, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.